Right, so the recording is started, and just reiterating what we just shared now is please make sure you know how you've been tackling learning unit 1 to learning unit 4. If you are going through the lectures and you feel that there's certain things you're not understanding, that would mean that there's certain things that you did not properly understand in the foundation phase. And those foundation phase are very critical. Um, and so just make sure that you go back, you identify what you're not understanding, and share with the class, share with myself. You know, there are some recordings that are very short, that would be maybe about 5 to 10 minutes. And on those recording, what you would see is that I am actually working with someone, just one person, one of your colleagues, for example, and we are covering something. And that would be that um, your colleague is not understanding a particular thing. And that's very helpful to say there is this section, for example, step method. So as you're starting to go through what you see on your screen, you start to go through you start to navigate learning unit 5. You will see that there is a recording, a short recording for step method. And you will see that it's me and your colleagues, just chatting and going through it. And what happened is that we record that and we share with the rest of the class who might be struggling with the same thing. Well, not that that's not private tuition. I mean, you're having, but it's not private tutorials, that's part of the class. So time is being spared to just go on something that you have identified and you know quite clearly that I don't understand this concept. You reach out to me and we go through it. The big problem is that to miss on a lot. When you start already to fall behind by one learning unit or two learning units is already dreadful. That's very dangerous. So whatever you're going to be doing, you're just going to be rushing. And you're going to get examples, more exercises. It's not going to help you because there is something foundational that you are not understanding. You see, so I appeal again to the entire class to say, look, we have a lovely bunch. We just few of us. We can spare the time, and you don't even need to pay me extra. It's part of our normal tutorials. You can spend the time, work on some critical issues. Now, the thing is, if you fall too much behind, for example, if there are things right now that the 4 learning units you have not even you skipped quite a lot and you didn't do your due diligence, you didn't do your work, you are in trouble, then that's another ball game. So you are really, really far behind. So we would need like to basically start private tutorials with you to make you understand all these things. So that's something completely else. But if I do believe, I do sense there are some answers that I see, maybe you might have gotten help from somewhere. Although I did say that, that's not really useful because it's not going to help you for your final exam because you're going to be alone, right? But the reason why I appreciate every single one of you is that the fact that even though you did very, not as much as you would have wanted, but the fact that you took the courage to do it by yourself, that's very, very commendable. That's extremely commendable. And that's why I'm of the belief that all of you are going to pass. But it's going to depend on how you're going to tackle learning units 5 to 7. You only have 3 learning units remaining, and just make sure that if you had been And perhaps also it could be a situation where you are finding yourself that you would engage very well during a week, but then there is a couple of weeks that will pass by where you're too busy, and so sort of you tend even to forget somehow, you know. You covered very well learning unit one and learning unit two, but then you fell behind, you were too busy, and now you're trying to remember. Even sometimes now you are worried about learning unit one and two because, like, gosh, I've forgotten certain things. That's why we have this short lectures, tutorials, That's why you have your notes. That's the part where you are a student. You are a tertiary level student, right? They certain things that are a must for any student. You need to have some sort of note where you are summarizing. Because why am I saying this? Because we need to talk strategy here. You are not going close to your exam. You're not going to start studying from learning unit one. See, that's impossible. Someone could, but that's not the best methods. That's not the way any smart student should study. Plus, you have also other modules that you are doing. That's not smart. What you do is that when you cover a learning unit, you ensure that, on top of the notes that are provided to you, use them to make also some sorts your own notes. That's the best way to walk your brain through what you did. And you could take, what I do sometimes is that I'll take maybe 5 minutes just to revise, and on some of the notes that I wrote down, what is more important, and etc. So this is strategy, especially close to the exam. We're going to be talking about strategy. um, my students have done incredibly well. Look, I'm very pleased, but that's because, we strategize before the exam so that you don't go there, you're like, look, you didn't even prepare me very well. I did not know that I was walking into something like this. That's not going to happen because you're going to be provided clear strategies, and you have, like I said, you have a vast wealth of material, past exams, past papers. You have everything, right? So the reason why we work on, for example, the mind map. Now let's move on quickly. I'm just going to touch on the mind map. Is also some sort of summary that we're providing to you. I'm providing you this, and by the way, the school is looking into what I'm doing, some of the tools that I'm using. So there is some sort of feedback that is being collected. It's helpful. It's extremely helpful because I know that those who are doing very well are destroying it. It's just another way of saying that they are doing so well. They're crushing it. I mean, I have 96%, for the top in class, for T2. So that shows you that some of you are doing very well, you know. But I understand again, you don't have 10 points here. You have only 2 points here. You have inventory control, and then you have overhead cost control, right? So it's just to make it simple for you so that you don't have that thing inside of you of there's so many things that I've skipped. There's many things, gosh, I can't remember again, what we did in learning unit one. No, no, no. It's not about remembering everything. It's remembering the key things and moving on. Right. So, so just to finish on this point, to say, guys, you wrote T2, congratulations. You should be proud of yourself. Because you know what? You could have said, listen, I don't want to write. I'm going to write maybe the deferred. No, you took on T2, and especially if you did it by yourself, right? You took the time, you worked through it. So now, whatever you did wrong, right? Go back and understand. Why did I get this wrong? That's part of your practice, that learning. So make T2 as, you know what, this is a canvas for me. This is for practicing because I'm looking at the exam. Like I said, you don't want to fail the same question twice. You don't want to find the same question in your exam and then you're failing the same question just because you are somehow discouraged. Don't be discouraged. You've done a great thing. As far as I'm concerned, there was only one person who failed, but that person is the only person who's not attending class, who's not answering my emails. I've tried everything really to get hold of that person. So, but all of you did us, but you could have done better. We do agree, right? I hope we agree, right? You wanted to have maybe a distinction, right? So I trust this is clear. I trust this is clear. All right, so let me just, if you'll allow me, let me move my screen to T2. Just give me a second. All right, so can you see my screen? Just a thumb up. Right. Not too sure if the internet, because I'm not seeing nobody with a thumb up. Oh, awesome, awesome. I see Cody there. Right. Oh, yeah, we're good. We're good. Guys, you have React there on your screen, and you can use React to send me an emoji there. But let's focus on this one, right? And like I said to you, your strategy that you're gonna encounter even in your exam is that if you check quickly your questions, you might have maybe 6 questions or 7 questions. It does not matter. Then the number doesn't matter. But when you're looking at question number 4, it's only 10 marks. And then when you're looking at question number 3 is 30, right? That's quite high. And then you have question number 2 is 50. So you would spend more time on question number 2 because it has the most marks. And then I will go to question number 3. And then I need to target the 2 remaining questions when I have my spare time. All right. So that's how you will strategize, right? But now, I kid you not, some some one or two of you would write maybe a 1 page for this one and a couple of lines for this one. Right. That's a big issue, right? That's really a big issue. All right. So look at question number 2. And that's the part where I say, if you are paying attention, you are using the lectures and all that, you wouldn't struggle because someone got the 50 marks almost, just inside a couple of errors here and there, but the 50 marks because it's straightforward. And that, like you see, it always should be in a table. It always should be in a table and it should always be easy. Yes, although, yeah, there's a lot of calculations that you need to do, but it that's your every schedule of your budget when it comes to cash, sorry, sales or purchases, that's how you should do it. Because we give you a timeline, and that's the part where we want to know if you understand timeline. But quickly, when I'm looking at what is required, like I said, don't answer what is not required of you. What is required is from October. You're constructing a schedule of budgeted purchases, including cash and credit. So you know cash need to be there. You know credit need to be there. And I didn't see someone, okay, yeah, there was one person who did not even understand, question. But I think all of you in majority understood the question. But now here where the problem was is that you had to cover the period from October to January. Now, why was I getting a lot of like the periods from June to January? For example, when I see that, that's already a red flag. You are not understanding. You did not properly understand the question. Take a bit of time to just understand that you are starting from October and you are only dealing with the purchases. You are not dealing with sales. But what is provided to you? Actual sales are provided to you. But you are not to deal with the sales actually. You are to deal with the purchases. And that's some a student who understand what he's doing. And I'll check because everything now will be provided to you. Like I said in class, everything will be provided in the additional information. So you take clear note of what is happening. So the cash sales equate to 35%. I can quickly mentally, and we were talking about this in class. 100 minus 35 will always give you what is not cash. Then that would be credit. I can just make mesh note of it somewhere, right? Cost of sales make up 85% of sales. Oh, that's where I'll find the cost of sales, right? So it's going to be 85% of these actual sales and forecast sales. So every 85% is cost of sales. Well, now cost of sales include a lot of things. Remember, these are costs. Unless they tell you clearly that these costs are purchases, then you consider all of them purchases. But it can't be the case because number 3, they say purchases constitute 60% of cost of sales. Clear. Really clear, right? So, and again, there's a 60%. There's another 60%. That means that 40% will be credit. So if we are looking for purchases that are credit, 40%, that will be 40%. And it is as easy, it is as easy as this. I hope you are all looking at this. So if I want to find credit purchases, I know 85%, you know what 85% is, right? 85 divided by 100, right? And that's 0.85. If you use your calculator, you're playing with your calculator, you know what is happening, right? 85 divided by 100 gives you 0.85. If I would like to find the credit, I know that the purchases is 60% of this 0.85, 60%. So I will multiply it by 0.6, right? And if I would like to find the credit, I know credit is 40%. Because they told me that 60% is cash. 100 minus 60 gives me 40. So I know the rest. If 60 is cash, the rest is credit. Now tell me, are we good on this? If this is cash, this is credit. Right? So that's, you don't need even to bother yourself with making, writing 40%. You just quickly say 40 divided by 100 gives you 0.4. Here it is, 0.4. Note 0.4, right? So easy. So you know how to get your credit purchases, because credit purchases is important, obviously. Cash purchases is important because the cash purchases of October will be in October. So when you look, for example, at October, these amounts multiplied by 0.85, multiplied by 60, because only 60% of the cost of sales is purchases. And we are only dealing with purchases. And only 60% is cash. So this gives us basically, for October, we would use exactly this amount here for October. Exactly this amount to find what is the cash purchase. So what we paid whatever, okay, not we, this company, Pressed Star, from its suppliers, because they get their product from the suppliers, right? They paid 60% cash, and the 40% they will pay it on credit. And like we said, pay it on credit means pay it later. And they tell us how they need to pay, because there's always some sort of plan on how you're going to pay us back. How are you going to pay us back? Obviously, we have the credit sales, but we're not interested in credit sales. We are interested, if you understand the question, even underlined, you understand that you are dealing with credit purchases. And how how does the credit purchase work? We have 25% that we need to pay 1 month after the purchase takes place. If it's in October, 1 month after, we will repay 25% of the credit for October's purchases. Is that making sense? Is this clear? So now this you can populate quite rapidly, because you have credit purchases. These are the credit purchases that you worked out. So I have the credit purchase of June. I have the credit purchase of July. I have all the credit purchase. Now, is June going to be relevant for October, November, December, and January? Well, that's depends. Well, that's depend, because we have to settle in 4 months. So after June, so there is July, August, September, and October. So only October would matter for the purchase that happened in June. Only, only this. Only this 20% for the 4th month after the purchase. Only this 20% would matter. All right, for July, is everything for July would matter? Is it even gonna, what happened in July? Does it matter for October? Well, it depends. So that's the part where you need to easily just say, okay, July. So for the first payment for July, the purchase of July would be in August. That will be the first payment. The second payment will be in September. The third payment will be in October. So there is a 15% for that will be in October. I will take this credit purchase, multiply by 15%, and I will get the amount. All right. And the fourth payment for the purchase that happened in July will be when? In November, just the next month. Then I'm done with the credit purchase of July. So you see how it is easy, you can plot. That's the only exercise you need to do, but it is an easy exercise. It is a ridiculous exercise. It just requires that someone that practice this. If you did not have time to practice this, you're making your life difficult. All right? So, does that make sense, guys? Now, look at the cash purchases here. You have all the cash purchases. Cash purchases, you don't need to worry. Whatever happened in October will be in October because you pay the cash when you buy something. You pay part of it in cash straight. So like we said, you will use the sales multiplied by the 85%, which is for cost of sales, multiplied by the 60%, which is for purchases, because we're only dealing with purchases, multiplied by the 60%, because we're only dealing with cash. Look at it here. It is as simple as that. Can you imagine how easy it is to write it like this? It's very simple. Very, very simple. All right. And so you put October here. You will put November here in November. You will put December in December. You see December? Because we are only interested with October to January. The schedule for the budgeted purchases is only for October, from October to January. That's what we're interested in, right? So obviously you add up everything. So you have all the credits purchases that you'll be paying, not collecting, because remember, we are dealing with purchases. This is what you will pay for credit purchases for October, all this. This is what you will pay for November. This is what you pay for December. This is what you pay for January. When you add the total credit purchases, here they are. This is your total purchases. It does make sense that it wouldn't be such a big amount because remember, we pay quite a lot cash. We pay 60% cash. It's only the 40% that we don't pay cash. So you can see that these two amounts are not very, far off each other, but that's not a point. The point would be we want to find out what you need to provide to us. How much you're going to be paying the total purchases for October. Cash plus credit for November, for December, and for January. Is this clear, guys? Please unmute yourself. You are hopefully quiet. That's not good. Tell me what you think, was an issue for you. What is the part that you missed? What is the thing that you're not understanding? Oh, another requirement, always make sure you understand what is required, because that's the question you are answering. Always make sure you need to provide to us a schedule, right? It's a full schedule. This is how I'm going to be paying. This is how this company is going to pay in October, in November, in December, in January, right? For its purchases, right? That's what is going to be happening. But also they tell you here, you need to round off your answers to the nearest whole number. Simple. Denver, Jesse, Cody. What went wrong?
For me, I think I read the question all wrong.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I like that, Denver, because this is also, if you remember some of the tips that I sent, you could see there was an emphasis there to say, read, read, read. Okay, I can understand. Sometimes,
Yeah.
you might say, wow, you're too dramatic, right? Why are you saying that? I know what I'm saying. Because I've had students fail a question because just they didn't read properly. So it does happen. Obviously, when you are under pressure, many things could happen. But that's why, telling you something like read, 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 it is not unwarranted. It's really to look at what is required. Yes, the additional information is of paramount importance. For example, many things could go wrong on the panic. I could say, well, I see they're asking for the schedule. You know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to provide. Why are they providing me the credit sales? I'm going to go ahead and build both of them. One of you answered that way, provided me with the the schedule for the credit sales and the credit purchases. But the problem is that that's a lot of time that you are taking. That's a lot of time. You can't do that in the exam. You're going to fail because that's time. The exam, guys, it's not difficult by by what you think. I'm saying the exam, they know if you understand what you are doing, you wouldn't be wasting time. That's the purpose of the exam. It's not to say that you're not going to have time. You will have time, but it's just you are being punished if you don't know. And that's why when you look at the paper, if there is a particular question after reading it, remember you're provided time first to read questions. And that's not you're not penalized, right? You're provided time first to read. It's not even eating at your time, your exam time. Always read and see if there's something a question you're not understanding, you can put it aside for now. If you really, really, really see that, look, I'm not understanding this question at this point. Maybe pressure. Maybe afterward, you might look at it and say, oh, no, I remember. And I know exactly what I'm going to do. Right, guys? So that's the thing. Question, reading properly, and I could see, yeah, this person is not understanding the question. I didn't ask you all this information. It's not what we're asking you. Give me what is required. That's all. Jesse, what went wrong?
So I was definitely, I was in a panic because so many things were starting to go wrong when I had to do my test, and yeah, it was just a bit of a big mess. And then I think I completely interpreted question two entirely wrong. I think my approach wasn't right.
All right. But this is good though. Anyone who's listening to this recording, pay attention to that, right? Your interpretation of the question, because you might feel like or think that maybe they're asking me this, right? But that's the part. Always make sure that you understand very well your learning units, because if you had covered the learning units, just the essential, you would know what the schedule is, right? Maybe somebody might mistake that for something else, right? But understand, we ask you on purpose. So we repeat what is in your textbook. And that's where, by the way, there's many things I can provide you, and you are welcome to use extra materials that you can find wherever. The problem is just make sure that whatever you are using to understand your textbook, right, corroborate what the textbook is saying. Because sometimes if another textbook use other terms, you might easily find yourself in a situation where you are confused. So, but these are just as they are in your textbook. And that's why it's your textbook that is examinable. You see. So I agree 100% with Denver and Jesse. Teddy, what went wrong?
Everything.
Everything. Teddy, it could be that this section, but tell me, after looking at this, after what we've just done now, is it simple?
After you explain it, seems a bit easier, but I'd have to redo it myself to answer that.
Yeah, but that's actually, Cody, the reality. The reality is that this is easy. It's really easy. It's just okay. So give it a read, and like I said, guys, for your practice, and that's the reason why I always emphasize with you that taking a question and doing it by yourself, that does it. You are sorted, because it takes away that fear, it takes away that hesitation. You do it by yourself, and then you check your answer. Am I doing it correctly? What did I miss? But that's where we, the practice side is very important. Question number 3 and question number 4, all of you did well, Although, if you remember, our last session, I was emphasizing this. You will need to be able to categorize. This will come back again in your exam, because it has to do with the fact that you need to be able to understand, all right? What is fixed, what is variable, what is production cost, what is non-production cost. I repeat those things, write them down, do your own summary. They're going to help you close to the exam, but you need to know these things, right? Some of the only issue I saw with some of you is that they did throw you a little bit off when it comes to the fixed cost and variable cost. Remember, you were returning the total costs. So the total fixed cost, it doesn't matter if a part of it, right, is manufacturing or non-manufacturing, belonging to the plant or belonging to the admin building. If it's fixed, it's fixed. You see what I'm saying? You need to provide all that total cost. So some of you did maybe struggle with that, and I don't understand why. We didn't ask you what is manufacturing, what is non-manufacturing. And here again is the problem of memorizing questions, which are advised against. Do not memorize questions. Look at the question, understand the question, understand what is required. Because many other examples that we had to do with production and non-production. So now you're confusing as well. You are dividing it into sort of like production and non-production, but that's not the question. That's not the question. Here, we don't care if it's production or non-production. Do you see? We don't care about that. We care about the fact of if it is fixed or variable. That's all. So understand the question. Understand the question. Some of you did calculations to show me that this is the plant, the manufacturing costs or the production cost. You know what? I gave you some marks, but I'm warning you. I'm not going to give you marks in the exam, because that's not the question. All right. So always show your workings, obviously, because that's also, and that's why you could see you getting marks, because your workings are very important, right? Show your workings, but it's about making sure that you put the fixed cost at the right place and the variable cost at the right place, beside a couple of errors here and there, but you did quite well. All right. And this one, fantastic. You did well. I didn't see someone, but when it comes to the rounding, yeah, a bit of issue there, here and there, and you could see on your paper if you did wrong. I'm highlighting. Just be careful with the rounding. If it's 5 and above, so if you're rounding, let me just take an example here. Okay, so if it is a 9, 76.4, and a 9, 76.5, so you are rounding to the nearest 2 last numbers, for example, right? These are the 2 nearest numbers. That's good, right? This one, because that will be the cutoff here, right? What I would like to see, if it's 5 or above, this one will turn into 7. right? It will be 77. Sorry, 77. So it will be 9.77 because it's 5 or above. You will round up, right? If it is less than 5, you will round, it will remain the same, right? So you're not going to put 5. This 6 won't be 5, but it will remain just like that. So if it's less, then you don't round up. It will be 76 because it is less than 5. I know you all know this. I'm just saying that these are the couple of issues that I saw. Sometimes I could see there is a problem because you are giving maybe 977. That's not really the answer, right? You do well for the other numbers, but there is a problem here. It's concerning if you're not getting the correct amount. For example, somebody was giving me 10.02. How did you get the 2? I don't know, because if I do the same calculation as what you did, I don't get the 2. So how did you get 2? Right? So just careful when you're doing your calculations. Right. So that's it for T2.